Hi guys, I'm Marticore, and there is a part of the Ghosts and Zombies video that I cut out because this topic is big enough to make a separate video about it. I mentioned old age as the primary reason of Sims passing away in The Sims 2. So let's talk elders. How does the elder stage work? And how does inheritance work? Very interesting stuff. So again, this video is made in collaboration with Elena, who can read BHAVs. I can't, maybe I will learn someday. But be sure to check out her Mod The Sims account, her mods, very useful. There will be a lot of exact numbers in this video, so if you don't want spoilers, if you don't want to be too aware of things, don't watch it. And now let's go. What people usually know is that the length of the elder stage depends on the Sim's aspiration level when growing up from adult to elder. But that's not all there is. In the age transition process, the game gives the elder initial 10 days as base, then adds a random number from 1 to 10, and then adds or subtracts days according to the aspiration score. So the shortest possible elder stage is 9 days, and the longest is 30 days. So it can be longer than the adult stage. Also, there's this very strange glitch that happens with elders. It's not very easy to notice, so at first you may think I'm crazy when I tell you about it, even though I mentioned it in a lot of my gameplays. When you have two elders of the exact same age, like twins, for example, living in one family, their age bars synchronize. Well, not really, because the number of days left can be very different, but the visual age bar is exactly the same, which can be very misleading. It's really hard to tell how close they are to their life ending. In The Sims 2 and 3, Sims of the same age are sorted alphabetically by names in the family panel. And I am pretty sure that the age bar adjusts to the first Sim on the list. When that Sim dies and their peer still has some days left, their age bar will go back to what it's supposed to be, so it looks like it's reversing. This once made me think that the elder stage duration can change while being an elder, and I've talked about it, but no, this doesn't happen. That was false. It's just a visual glitch. And sadly, there's no fix for that. Probably a lot of people don't even care about this, but to me it's really annoying. But if you really need to check how many days left your sim has, you can use the days left shrub mod. Or check in SimPE. Speaking of SimPE, a while ago I noticed that Sims who died of old age have a very large number of days left in their file, and it's always the same. That's how we can detect if a Sim actually expired, not passed of other causes. This especially applies to pre-made Sims. That's why on SimsWiki you can sometimes read about Sims having a certain number of days left when they died, even if they were already elders. I've seen people surprised that elders often die right after finishing their part-time work. They get out of the car and out of the world of living. That's because most of those jobs are finished at or after 6 p.m., which is when age progression happens, and as long as the age bar is full, the elder dies. Unless, like with age transition, they may forget if they're preoccupied with something else, and then they should expire at the next full hour when they're not busy, but they may even do so the next morning sometimes. The default time for it is 6 p.m. though. When a Sim dies of old age, they sometimes argue with the Grim Reaper and try to flip the hourglass as if they're going too soon, that being when the aspiration score is green or lower. But the other option happening at gold or platinum aspiration is when there are hula zombies dancing, the Grim Reaper gives the passing Sim a drink and a suitcase. The game basically implies that the Sim is going on an infinite vacation to Hawaii or something, which is probably a reference to paradise. It's also a reference to Hawaiian culture where lei, the garland, is a token of welcome or farewell. In this case, kind of both. You might have noticed that Sims who died of old age can have different tombstones. Either the standard grey one, or the white and gold stone with their primary aspiration engraved on it. This happens only when the sim has platinum aspiration score when they die. Not gold, not always when the hula zombies happen, and it's not impacted by how many happiness points they had. And this only happens at old age death. Also with this type of death, you can't plead for loved one to the Grim Reaper. The time has come. But in the free time expansion, Sims can cheat death by making a wish to a genie. Whenever the Sim is supposed to pass, they autonomously ask the Grim Reaper for more time and usually get it. There's no player control over it, but the chance decreases the more they do it, so they will eventually die. Did you know that Sims still get memories after they die? Wow, this game really takes that afterlife concept seriously. They will get memories about their family members, that they got engaged or died, but it doesn't last very long as great-grandchildren are not considered family anymore, so after their last grandchild dies, that's where memories stop. Only dying of old age brings insurance money. The deceased leaves a certain amount of simoleons to their family and friends depending on the relationship they had. The aspiration score of the dying sim is also taken into account and actually makes a big difference. The overall wealth of the family doesn't count. Sims who have family ties with the dying sim will always get something, but they have to be in that sim's contacts. So if the sim doesn't know their grandchildren, they get nothing, because there are no relationship points to count. It might sound weird, but in my game it happens very often that Sims don't know their own grandkids when they live in another house. And it's based on the relationship the dying sim had towards the other sim. As we know, relationships don't have to be mutual in The Sims 2. Wanna know the exact numbers? I'll give you the exact numbers. Let's go. There are 5 types of relationships that apply for inheritance: child, grandchild, spouse, friend, and love relationship. And they all get a different base amount of money. Let's call that base value. So the exact equation is base value divided by 100 and multiplied by long-term relationship points. Only long-term actually counts, the bottom bar of the relationship. Flags don't count at all, so Sims cannot have the best friends or love flag and still get the money. If they are not related to the Sim, they apply as a friend if the LTR is 50 or more. But the so-called love relationship is probably not coded correctly, because it's any sim with the LTR of 75 or above. They don't have to be in love. Lena made a fix for that, because of course she did. Marriage is technically family and it's counted separately from engagement. Marriage also gets the biggest amount. If Sims were only engaged, the insurance notification will address the fiancé as friend, and usually it will be counted as love relationship because of LTR. There are different base values for different aspiration scores of the inheritance provider, with low being red, medium being green, and high being gold or platinum. This is the impact of the aspiration score. But have in mind that halves are not counted in the equation by game's code. For example, at medium aspiration, the base value for grandchild is 1250. If you divide it by 100, you get 12.5. The game treats that as a 12. That way the values and the notification I got in tests are perfectly in sync. If you don't see a particular sim that deserves to inherit money in the insurance notification, have in mind that it says how many sims benefited, but only lists 5 of them by name. There can't be more than 5 sims on the list, but other sims might have gotten the money as well. In Dora's example, she had a best friend that wasn't listed, but there were 6 people overall, so when I loaded the friend's household, she got the money. And the memory. I think family members are a priority on the list, not the biggest amount of money, because Poppy definitely got more than Charla. Also, cousins are acknowledged in the notification, but they count the same as either friend or love relationship depending on LTR. There isn't a separate category for cousins. I'm actually surprised the notification sees cousins, but not fiancés. If a townie gets an inheritance, they will only receive the money if you move them in. With a sim living in another household, all it takes is loading that household, and after a short while, Sims will get the cash and a memory of the occurrence. Fortune Sims may also have a want to inherit money from a particular Sim. Fortune Sims are pragmatic, to say the least. Sometimes you can see that the elder left something for the Toddler New Year. That's because Sims get a hidden relationship with him when you throw a New Year's bash, and it's taken into account for the inheritance. From this Reddit post, I calculated that the Sims aspiration score must have been high, either gold or platinum, and the relationship towards Toddler New Year was probably 72. The only time this happened to me was with Daniel Pleasant in my old Pleasant View, but I couldn't find this NPC in his contacts in SimPE. Well, it's just a glitch, no biggie. It's not like you can play as the Toddler New Year and withdraw the 360 simoleons, right? Personally, for years and years, I've had inheritance disabled with a mod in my game. I don't like easy money that appears out of nowhere. This is no one's money. It just happens. Whatever the family has on hand on their account, I treat as legacy money. That's definitely enough for me. But even if I don't use this very basic feature of the game, it's always super exciting to find out about mechanics in such detail. Again, thank you Lena for helping me to figure this out. She was the one who actually found the exact numbers for inheritance, by the way. I can't take any credit for that, except for testing a lot in game and actually using a calculator to count everything. And noticing that halves don't count. That's on me. So I hope you're excited to find this out as well, and that's it for this video. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna stop that video, and see you in the next one. Bye!